Copyright laws apply to all contents of this video. Hello, JOMAJ Studios here, and this is our original fantasy action adventure, Like Water, The Next Age. Episode 18. David was a professional martial arts champion when the world changed. Despite his chosen profession, David was brought up in a world of privilege. This meant he had wealth on top of wealth, which allowed him to stay away from the option of taking the implant for longer than most. Until the day government agents kicked his door down and arrested him alongside his wife, brother and kids. "Is this necessary?" asked David while being questioned by a government officer. "We have intel that indicates people who refuse the mandatory implants are part of sleeper cell terrorist units," responded the officer. "I'm a professional athlete, husband and father of 2 very demanding kids, 3 if you count my brother. Trust me, I have no time to be part of any cell or unit. Tell you what, just put me with my family and we'll take the implants right now," said David, whose words caused the officers to whisper amongst themselves before arranging for him to be taken back to his cell. "Listen, brother. If you take the implant, not only will the government be able to track your every movement, kill you with a flick of a switch or mind control you, but you will damn your soul for all eternity. For the implant is the mark of the beast talked about in the book of Revelation. Think about it. Why else are they killing people who refuse it?" explained Clive, his cellmate. David quickly dismissed Clive's words as the ramblings of a deranged old man, as he was distracted by thoughts about his family's well-being. Then he witnessed his first execution, which prompted him to immediately approach the nearest guard. "Where is my family? Where is my family?" erratically asked David, as flashbacks of his wife and brother having anti-government debates with him flooded his mind. A few guards tried to restrain him but failed miserably. Then the camp came under attack, and while Harold fled with Susan as well as 20 other prisoners, David fled alone into the forest. For 2 days, David walked aimlessly through the wastelands before finally fainting. "Where am I?" asked David as he gained consciousness in a tent with a scruffy middle-aged woman sitting beside him. "Don't try to move. Here, have some water," said the woman, handing him a bowl. "You need to rest and eat to regain your strength," informed the woman. Despite his desire to get up, all David could do was go back to sleep. 12 hours later, David was back on his feet thanks to some well-needed rest, food and water. "Thank you," said David to Fran, the woman who had nursed him back to health. "You don't have to thank me, as we all have been displaced in this new world order. You are welcome to travel with us," offered Fran, referring to the traveling community made up of about 15 people, which included mainly women, children and the elderly. "I need to figure out how to get to my family," responded David. Before his conversation with Frank could go any further, the group found themselves surrounded by a small army of wild bandits. "Hey, aren't you David Rockhold?" asked one of the bandits while he was arranging a group of travelers into a line. "Boss, look, it's David Rockhold," announced the organizing bandits. "As I live and breathe, it's David Rockhold, the greatest fighter of this generation. I wouldn't expect to see a celebrity like you in a place like this. I mean, a lot of rich and famous people talk tough about the mandatory implants, but when it came down to the wire, they just took it to be comfortable in the world of luxury," said the lead bandit as he approached David. "Are you really as good as you are on TV?" asked the organizing bandits. "Of course he is. He's a fighter, not an actor," replied the lead bandit. "Some people say a lot of those fights are rigged," said the organizing bandits. "People say that when they're mad after they lose money," argued the lead bandit. "How about we test him right now? Mr. Rockhold, you'd be willing to fight, won't you?" asked the organizing bandit. David responded by quietly looking at the ground in an effort to avoid eye contact. "I think he needs some motivation," said the lead bandit. He then signaled 3 of his men to attack David, who in turn just covered up while they proceeded to beat on him. "Leave him alone!" screamed Fran, which prompted one of the bandits to floor her with a backhand slap. This angered David, who in a few moments got to his feet and knocked out all 3 of his attackers before proceeding to check on Fran's welfare. "I told you he was the real deal. He just needed the right motivation," said the lead bandit to his subordinates. Mr. Rockhold, my men and I are very good at surviving in these parts, and we are willing to offer you and your friends shelter, food, and protection if you fight for me, said the lead bandit, now addressing David. All we want is to be left alone, responded David. I see. Maybe I should rephrase my offer, said the lead bandit, then proceeding to shoot Fran in the head, killing her instantly. Fight for me, or we will kill you and your friends, said the lead bandit, unmoved by the emotional devastation caused by his action. David fought every day for a year until the day Barnabas and Ice came to the camp, freed them and endowed him with programming skills. Still determined to be reunited with his family, David trained daily to hone his new abilities and quickly found that he was able to manipulate the elements of earth, fire, wind, as well as water. Daniel, a young man mesmerized by David, begged to be the new programmer's student, a request which was granted as David saw no harm in it. To both of their amazements, David's training regime revealed the fact that David was a fire programmer. A year and a half after receiving his programming abilities, David began working on a plan to return back to the metropolitan area where his family was held. But his planning was short-lived as Agent Adewale and his unit descended on his community that was now 40 people strong. David was more than a competent warrior with high-level programming skills, but after a few exchanges with the three agents, he knew to continue to do battle with them would mean certain death. David and a reluctant Daniel retreated into the forest and began to head towards one of the coordinates given to him by Barnabas, in case he needed support of any kind. 3 days later, in a Barnabas-established camp, situated in the mountain regions of the wastelands, Harold and Peebles, the head of the ninja army that chose to ally with him, talked as they walked through the camp under their care. Evacuation at this point seems to be our only viable option, stated Peebles. If government agents are actively seeking and destroying wasteland communities, where would we go that would be safe? Asked Harold. I say we go to wherever Barnabas is. If there's anyone who can help with this, it would be him, answered Peebles. One of Peebles' men then jumped to his side and whispered into his ear. 2 of Barnabas' programmers are approaching the area, informed Peebles, prompting him and Harold to head to the entrance of the community, where they found a very exhausted David and Daniel running into the community. They're right behind us, informed David as he and Daniel caught their breaths. Who is behind you? Asked Harold, immediately after which Agent Adewale in full battle mode landed right in the middle of the community and instantly disintegrated in one shot 20 ninja soldiers that tried to attack him all at once. That is the end of episode 18, but before we go, answer this episode's question. Are David and Daniel cowards for retreating and leaving their townspeople to die at the hands of government agents? Give your answers in the comments below as well as on our Facebook and Twitter page. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned for the next one. Until then, subscribe to JOMAJ Studio YouTube channel, add us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter. Link to our website on all social media can be found in the description box below. See you later.